here. How's it going? This is 372 pages we'll never get back. Got a new book announcement coming, right, Connor?
Yeah, we do. One of these minutes. I don't know. Someone you could probably see what specific minute it will happen. Someone will direct you there.
There might be someone who might want to point that out at some point. Who knows?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about the 1994 World Cup for a while before that, or
that would be good. I could talk about my recent injury.
Okay,
would that be fascinating to people?
I'm sure people are curious. Yeah,
it's just one of those things where you're like, I get home, I go to hang up my coat, and my fingernail like brushes the side of this closet door.
This is not the injury that that happened 2 months. This is a
no. This is just
it's
just a thing that just like, what the hell, man? What the hell,
yeah.
Universe? What are we
Malady
doing?
discussion here.
But I'm surely this has happened to someone. But it's one of those things that's just like, it's both insane and irritating at the same time. Is my fingernail hits the wooden door, and it cuts a piece of like a sliver off. And the sliver drives underneath the nail where it's unreachable and lodges there and starts bleeding. And I'm like crying out in pain, like, ah! But there's nothing I can do as I see the piece of sliver down underneath my fingernail. So, and I was like, what? If I tried to do that again, obviously, 7 million times in a row, I would fail each time. So anyway.
I mean, that's at least in popular culture, that's how they tortured people, right? In the bamboo under their fingernails. That was like,
I've told you once, my mother doesn't come up often on this.
No, wow, this is like
my stepmother. She was a young person working next to a guy whose hands looked sort of mutilated, and she said, "Do you mind if I ask what something happened to your hands?" He was like, "Yes, I was in a prison camp in Japan, and they put bamboo shoots under my fingernails." I'm only laughing because my mom was like, "God, I did not expect that. I thought maybe some industrial accident or something."
Yeah, a cartoon mallet whapped me on the hand with it.
Yes. So,
well,
anyway.
This is an appropriate discussion. Fingernail-related torture and mishaps for a cozy season, right?
There's
nothing cozier than
getting accidental slivers shoved under your fingernails.
But we like to do a cozy book come this time of year. The clocks have rolled back. It's the time to gather around the hearth and, as you typically do, lick yogurt off the back of a spoon, preferably while holding your knees up to your chest and sort of looking out a window at the freshly fallen snow.
Looping a too large sweater over my knees, which I assume we all have too large sweaters that we loop over our knees. And you're sitting on one of those Stickley, well, no, Stickley, but Stickley's a brand or something, but one of those rocking chairs that are made out of bent wood. Rocking chair.
Yeah, cane-backed maybe.
Cane-back, and you're on a porch, and your knees are up.
There's an old hound whose ears are over his eyes, but he occasionally blows one out of his thing to see what's rustling in the underbrush. That's not necessarily cozy, I guess.
Yes. And then right at that moment, you think, like, I have to cut some wood, and then you go to cut some wood, and then a guy comes up and is like, "Are you ready to go back?" And then you realize that you were a CIA agent. Oh, wait, that's a different form. That's a different cliche.
That's a different cliche-ridden...
I just got in the cabin mode, and I was like, maybe that's cozy to go back and do one more sniper job or something.
We need you. You're the best there ever damn was at opening up a bake shop in a small town that you came from.
Now swallow that yogurt, and let's get going. Back to Langley.
So we've read, several of these books on the podcast, and we've explored the world of them. I think we're familiar with the cliches based on the small number we've read. In fact, we read one last year that was so cliched that it turned out it was 70% plagiarized from a How to Write Cozy Mysteries book, which, I mean, as far as developments go, not only in our podcast, but podcast history, I think that's pretty far up there in terms of you can't make it up kind of things. That's like, the person researching the true crime mystery starting to get letters from the killer, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. It was that. Did you watch that follow up about the crazy ape woman?
I didn't watch the original thing about the crazy ape woman, so I'm
Okay.
sorry not to have.
There was a twist in the middle of it where you're just like, like they throw a funeral for the ape and they produce his ashes and everything, and then the camera just follows her down into the secret basement where she stashed her secret chimpanzee friend. That was one of those moments like, oh, all right. Well, now
Wow.
I've got to keep watching, I guess.
Wow.
But that's, yeah, a shocking development where as a person just spinning this out, you cannot believe your luck. Like, no way, he's still alive.
Well, I think we just picked that one last year by, picking one that sounded bad and, didn't have many reviews and stuff. This year, we're going to try a little different tactic. This is something that like every month, year and a half, I think, we have a listener who will write into us and ask us to do this book. He did it like last year in August, I think. And then he wrote us again a month ago to say like, hey, I know you typically read a cozy mystery this time of year. Allow me to please suggest this one again. And this is, we get a lot of emails. You don't necessarily trust all these people. We also get emails from people who are like, hey, I represent this author. I clearly searched for book-related podcasts on iTunes. Would you like to interview him about his latest, Jack Reacher ripoff? And it's like, we cover terrible books here.
You don't know what we're doing here.
But this guy, Jeffrey, is someone we do trust. And part of the reason we trust him, he's, gotten us access to books that you couldn't get anymore. He had the original Ellis book that was completely out of print. I'm sorry, the second one. So he knows his stuff. He also, once we read the Quilters Push Back, he went and read every other book in the series. And then he called in.
What kind of a madman is he? He's dear friends with the guy who wrote Super Constitution, like dear friends. I'm kidding. I'm not slandering him.
He's the guy that, was like, listen, you need to put it out under a different title, How to Improve the Middle Class. That's what's
here's
holding you back.
Here's what you take out and here's what you add and you'll have the mwah.
So anyway, yes, utter madman and our most trusted listener.
Yes.
And he keeps writing in and he's like, listen, I've read a lot of these things. You have to do The Quilting Cruise by the Devlin sisters. He called it possibly the purest distillation of Devlin. And you can only ignore these type of emails for so long before you knock on your door and Jeffrey's outside, quilting R.I.P. Connor, and that's the last thing you see before he throws the quilt over your head and hauls you off.
We got a podcaster with 2 knitting needles in his eyes and a long arm crushed his chest. Is that what they're called? Long arm?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a spoonful of yogurt shoved down his throat. Like, actually, Chief, we just got the lab results back. That's not, anyway, moving on.
Doesn't look so cozy to me. Yeah.
So yeah, The Quilting Cruise is book 9 in the. Can you name the heroine of the Quilters Mysteries? I don't think we ever. I mean, I could give you 100 guesses. Could you guess the name of the main character?
B? No, that wasn't Quilting B. No, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it's up there. It's like
Marge.
It's the type. Close. It's the type of name one of these cozy authors would take as a pen name. Miranda Hathaway.
Miranda Hathaway. Okay.
And it's so it's it starts off with sort of like a talking cat kind of thing. A cruise for quilters? Who could have thought of such a thing? Not Miranda Hathaway. It combined her favorite hobby with her greatest fear.
Cruises is her favorite fear? Her biggest
She
fear?
was terrified of open water. Well, of drowning.
Okay. Oh.
She lived. Are they in upstate Pennsylvania? Is that where they are? Is that where the interstate cut through?
Oh, yes, I believe so.
I think so. But of course, her BFF Diane talks her into going on a cruise with the rest of Cutler Quilt Guild number 1, and true to form, she finds herself embroiled in a mystery that involves a quilt instructor and her very dark and shady husband. They have 1 week to find the truth. Will they? And at what cost?
What's her handsome husband's name?
The FBI, former FBI agent?
Yeah.
I do not know, but he does know how to work the long arm. So I don't know. I don't. Is he going to join her on the cruise? I don't
That's
know.
what I'm. If he's not there, I mean, because he brought all kinds of handsome, right? He was 80s Sean Connery, I'm assuming. Right?
Yeah, that's
like
I think,
tweed and patches on the arms, but sort of like a little mysterious.
right. Has that sort of like in shape old guy look when he takes his shirt off at the beach. That's sort of,
Yeah.
you only see it on the guys who are actual movie stars that are like, Tom Cruise is still taking his shirt off in movies. Like,
Yeah.
how long is this going to go on? And how come Wilford Brimley didn't do that when he was the same age?
Let's take our shirt off and watch Murder, She Wrote. What did they list? They watched something, right?
Jeopardy. They watched Jeopardy. That got them
Take
all
your shirt
horned
off
up.
of that.
So
Yeah, okay.
So who knows? Will Alex Trebek be on the cruise? I don't know. But here's some of the review samplings of the quilting cruise. We've seen some of these books that have 8,500 ratings. So they they probably own their own cruise ship. This one only has 323, and it has a 4.6 on both Amazon and Goodreads. But
I'm going to grade that on the eBay shopping curve. Please give us 10 stars or whatever. 4.6 is pretty low, right? Don't they give each other fives across the board?
I think almost universally. And so I think if you see anything below 4, you're in for just
garbage.
Exactly. But I think 4.6 is what you can expect, because you get reviews like this from Lynn. As always, I enjoy these Miranda Hathaway quilt mysteries. I've never taken a cruise, so I can sympathize with Miranda's anxiety. I mean, have you ever taken a cruise?
I have.
Okay.
It was we were young marrieds, and it was kind of supposed to be a honeymoon thing. So we did the traditional stuff, but it was an old Italian naval boat converted. And so
Doesn't sound so cozy.
No, it was not cozy. We were in basically like a slave quarters down there. It was separate iron beds. It was
low steerage.
Yes, we were before the mast. It was.
There's a guy with a drum that was beating, to for you to do things in synchronization with each other.
But the best part of it was you were sat at a table with the same people every night, right? And so it was like 10 people. Mine was it was Bridget and I, and then a group of 8 women, young women, who had come to
get their groove back.
Yes, they were young, yet to be married, yet to have boyfriends. So they just thought, we've got a guy at our table, and they were all. But they were from Long Island, and one night, one of the women said to her sister who was on the cruise, this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. She's starting to tell a story, and then she goes, "No, you remember when that was, Claire, because that was the day you got shot in the face." And then they go on with a different story, and Bridget and I are like, wait.
Wow.
And then the story of, yes, I was a big ding. My head blew up like a pumpkin. It was just... Anyway.
Wow.
That was
and those two sisters
cruise.
were Mary Beth Devlin Lynch and Mary Devlin Kuhn.
And the coziest mysteries ever came out of those two.
Wow. Well, so then hopefully you'll be able to relate to some of this, the anxieties of a cruise ship, who you'll be paired up with at the table, whether everyone will get the same sickness and wind up in your bathroom in the entire time. If the room you're staying at even had a bathroom, it sounds like you might not have had
No, I think we had a communal one.
a hole that just went down to the ocean.
There was no norovirus on our particular cruise, as I recall.
Well, I mean, drowning though. I mean, yeah. So that would be one anxiety, but I think a cruise ship would be full of the rest of them. What if the open bar doesn't have your brand? What if your table companions are a bunch of dullards? But then,
I have one more anxiety.
Oh, nice,
because this happened in real life. We befriended a family, a young couple. He was from Cyprus, but he lived in America. I forget where, but he had come from Cyprus, and his whole family was there. Cute little family, and we just saw them all the time, so we hung out with him. And he was like, "Everything costs so much. Everything is just so expensive to bring my kids on this cruise." And then it's for his own enjoyment, he wanted to do the trap shooting off the back of the boat.
Oh, nice.
And so the guy's like, it's $60 or whatever, and he pulls out 100, and he goes like this, and it flies off the back of the ship, $100 bill, and the guy goes, "I didn't touch it, man." He's like,
"Oh wow,
no, this cannot be happening." And so he was railing. I saw that happen, and then he was railing to me like, "Mike, I cannot take this anymore." Like, I understand, man. It was Archimedes. It was
wow, nice,
great guy, yeah. He was his just rage, like he didn't know what to do.
Well, that's another
cute little girls were just like, "Daddy, can I have it?" He's like, "Ah."
Well, that's another sort of stereotype of the cruises, right? The supposedly fun thing I never do again, where you just sort of get like, there's always a handout for, tip this guy, tip this person.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's all inclusive, but like if you don't tip the bartender, you get watered down margs for the rest of the trip.
He made my towel into a swan. Here's $20. Yeah.
I've never been on one. I'm going to go on a small one with my parents next year, like a very, very small one. But when we went to Norway this summer, there's, fjords everywhere.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of cruise ships come down there, and there's these towns of, that 50, 70 years ago probably had 300 people in them. And now it is like, you just imagine it's like a escalated version of like, an explorer's boat, like arriving for the first time, on the New World coast, and, someone looking out and being like, "Huh, well, that's certainly going to shake things up here." I can't say I'm thrilled about this development. Yes. You just like, we'd wake up on these, little picturesque fjord towns, and you'd go to bed one night and you'd wake up and there'd be literally a skyscraper, like, that was not there in the morning. And it's like, well, that certainly is different. And you drive by these, you drive like through these towns, and there'd just be these people like, all sort of like herded in the same direction, like, looking, a little stereotypical cruise ship passengers, just like walking, like, to do the same, like 3 activities, barging past anything of actual interest to go zip lining or whatever. And it's like, I'm sure these communities benefit in some way, like the liquor stores and the grocery stores, but it's hard to imagine that, that doesn't come with its hefty share of negatives as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty depressing exercise. I remember that very well. But yeah, they go to the liquor stores and then they fill up their saline solution bottles with vodka, right? And bring them back on the ship. That's
have I told that on here before?
I don't think so.
But so my 3 of my buddies, when I was 25, were going on a cruise, that went down, the Baja coast essentially. And they were like, got these emails that is like, I guess it was not all inclusive, but they're like, "We check your bags upon boarding the ship. No outside booze is prohibited, is allowed. We will check it. We will pour it out." And, 25-year-old guys on this trip, that was like an existential crisis. It's like, what, we can't afford the booze, but we need a lot of booze. So what do we do? And I was like, well, problem solved. As a contact lens wearer, you fill up the saline solution bottle with whiskey, and you bring it on, and you just pour yourself shots out of there. They're not going to look at the bottle as opaque. You can't. So they're like, perfect. Flash forward, I guess probably 2 months after this, to when my friend Jake, who was not on the cruise, was chopping jalapenos to make chili or something. He gets brushes something out of his eye, is in immediate pain, and like runs to the bathroom to sort of eye wash his thing out, and is rummaging around, and he sees a bottle of saline solution. He does not wear contacts, but he's like, "What angel stayed at my house, left this behind," and reaches back, shoots squirts pure whiskey into his eye,
benchmark number 12 into his eye.
Immeasurable, much more pain than the mild stinging of the jalapeno. Drops to his knees, sort of is unable to even comprehend how the universe has done this to him, because what situation would you find yourself putting whiskey into a saline bottle situation? And I think he told the story to my friend, who's like, what on earth could have happened? And he was the guy that left it there. So yeah, crew, who knows what sort of stuff you might get up to on cruises.
This could happen, yes. Whiskey in the eye of one of our quilters. We're going to You're gonna see.
An all-timer. But so that was Lynn's story. She sympathizes with the anxiety that you might, lose your money over the side or squirt whiskey into your eye. Then you get these critical reviews. This one is from Chastity, not Chastity, as you tried to autocorrect, and it would also be I'm sure there's Cozy Mysteries written by Chastity Lane or whatever.
Yes.
She gives it a rating. Her title is okay, 3.5. I'd give it 4 stars, but I found a few missing words, etc. A cute cruise crime novel would be great to take along to the beach or on a cruise. I enjoyed the characters. And then NM Route 66, so New Mexico Route 66, I guess. My usual complaint is still the rehashing of previous stories in the other books, but this one has quite a bit of spelling errors. They need a new group to proofread and catch these.
Oh no, missing words and spelling errors. What have we done?
So maybe there's a cozy mystery about a proofreading group who proofreads other cozy mystery writers' cozy mysteries and catches them. And then they find a Zodiac killer coded message being like, I need help. I'm being held in a group, and he only lets me write cozy mysteries down in his basement pit. But I'm getting a mystery out to you. You need to send help, and there's a code in here.
That was Connor doing his Joss Whedon, hey, what if, But I'm sure it's already a subgenre that has existed for 30 years, and the proofreading other mysteries things is a full. If you go to Amazon and oh please,
right? Yeah.
There's a star in this category. You're not inventing this.
Yeah, this is how Shonda Rhimes got her start. That was how she cut her teeth. So I don't know. I'm super excited. This one is, it's not exactly Christmas related, but I think it's
it's gonna be cozy.
Obviously it's going to be cozy, and it's sort of like cozy out in the real world. So how are they going to adapt this to, being in a not so cozy situation of top shelf margs and shuffleboard and I don't know, hunks. You have to assume there's some hunks on the cruise.
Oh, there has to be people who look great in their crisp whites.
Yeah, sure.
They will also probably run down don't they try to cram you with food on cruise ships? And they're like, oh, it's all you can eat. Basically, there's food everywhere. There's if you just want to go get a hamburger, there's always a guy grilling. On our cruise, at least, because it wasn't super high. It wasn't super high end. All the food was terrible. So you're like, well, I don't want to eat that, and I'm trapped. And so sometime on this podcast, I'll tell the story of how we drove with the women from Long Island across this Caribbean island to the other side because we heard of this place, and we got a cab driver who we just shoveled money to, but he had severe cataracts, and as it got dark, he couldn't see at all. So he sped us back to the ship just in time to get there, but every time a car would approach us, he would veer toward the headlights because he didn't know what to do. It was that's the only light I see. So it was a carload of women just screaming and punching me in the back of the head out of fear. And I'm like, we'll get there. We'll get there. And the horn is sounding, for the ship, we're leaving. And this cab driver is driving through, sugar cane fields,
Oh,
so that's another anxiety that could.
Yeah, I think. And so this hopefully opens the door for people to write in their own cruise ship experiences and pass them along, and we can maybe share some of those juicy ones with people. I'm excited. I can't wait. I think it's a perfect time of year to read something cozy. And again, if this is the one that Jeffrey is hammering home that we must read, there's got to be something there for us to sink our teeth into.
Yeah, if Jeffrey, he looks up at a shelf. I assume he's smoking a meerschaum pipe, and he looks up at a shelf, and it's there's the Cozy Mysteries all on his oaken shelf above him, and he's like, but the best one, the one I think they should read, is this one, and he taps it with the end of his pipe, and that's why we're doing this one. So, very exciting, and who can? It's the second series in a row we've revisited. I think it'll probably go better than Tech Kill. I'm guessing these Devlin sisters seem to have some
I don't know, fewer annoying ticks and maybe a few more ideas than Shatlar did.
We make no promises to not pick on the typos that we know are there.
Yes.
I know that's the lowest form of, because I hate it. If you tweet something and there's a typo in it, you look at it, you're like, oh God, here we go. So I do hate it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
We'll see what happens.
Unless there's
funny,
something that's
we'll
hilarious. Yes.
Yeah.
So do you want to read a few emails since we've covered the book?
Yes, please.
Okay. Alejandro has wrote in to inform us that it's time for him to update his 372 pages art piece for Tech Kill. So this is Alejandro. I'll send you the updated one, but he does a character. I don't even know how to describe it. A compilation of characters from every single book. Yes, exactly.
It's amazing that he's able to fit them in there.
Yes. So he has updated it for this book. I just sent it to you. We will post a gallery because there's a lot of these emails have images, which is an ideal thing to discuss on an audio format.
Yes,
but anyway,
exactly.
I'll put up a gallery. For Tech Kill, he has decided to include Sid Gomez sans clown outfit to the group. He said, while drawing, this book wasn't my favorite to read. I found it a bit of a slog, honestly. I did rather enjoy drawing Gomez. I had re-listened to the first few episodes of Tech War before starting Tech Kill, and there was mention of Gomez's floating curly hair, mustache, misty, and a garish bright orange sport jacket. All in all, he turned out to look like a Latino John Oates, which I feel works pretty well.
Yes, that's what I said. And there he is. I see him. He's fairly prominent in the photo or in the drawing. So very nice.
Yes. And he, very nice. Yeah. And he says, I'm glad the Ernest Klein uncle with the bats there is pretty nice too. And the nerd girl. So he says, I'm glad Mike is on the mend and eager to see what's next. I hope that the quilting cruise will provide additional fodder for this montage. We get an email from Brad who wrote in to tell me this is devastating. I missed this. This was like mere days. I don't check the emails sometimes until like it's time to record. And then Brad had written in to say there was an event at a Maryland public library, Carroll County. I don't think it's super close to me, but it could have been worth the drive. But they had an event that was on November 1st called Cozy Con. Which was a event featuring a panel of cozy mystery authors who then would sign and purchase books. And so I'll just share with you who these authors were and what they had written. We had Olivia Black, who Death is Only the Beginning in Olivia Black's A New Lease on Death. A darkly funny supernatural mystery that introduces get this, unlikely crime-solving duo.
No, what is the unlikely?
It doesn't go into anything further, but she also has written.
She carries a log around. It's a log lady.
Right. That's her partner is the log. She talks to him. Yeah. She's also the author of the Record Shop Mysteries and the Brooklyn Murder Mysteries. Donna Andrews. Bells are ringing and alarms are sounding in Donna Andrews' latest cheery addition to the New York Times bestselling Meg Langslow series. You ready for this one?
Yes.
I think it's a birding themed Christmas mystery. Any guesses? I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
On the wings of death. I don't know.
Rockin' Around the Chickadee.
Oh, what?
Rockin' around.
What did they do with the crossover to like Hallmark has got to be off the charts. Do they just ignore? Like, that was a Hallmark movie from 2017. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if there's dibs or not, but like,
you can't copyright a title, right? So
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, this one was reviewed by Kirkus. I mean, what's going on? She also, the cover reveals she's the New York Times bestselling author of Let It Crow, Let It Crow, Let It Crow.
Oh, come on.
Oh, man. Look, maybe we can do like we did one year where we read one of these other things and just give a little book report on it. I mean, there's so many other Christmas books. Yeah. Oh, my God. And so there's 4 authors. The next one at this Cozy Con was Minda Quigley.
Real name?
It's impossible to tell. It's impossible to tell. But she was here to talk about. I mean, it doesn't sound like one, but She's written the Deep Dish Mysteries, set in a Wisconsin pizzeria.
Damn it.
So any guesses about the fourth book in her delectable Deep Dish Mysteries series? I mean, Christmas Carol themed title.
Pepperoni ho ho ho. I don't know.
Okay, all right. All right. So there is something to this. Sleep in Heavenly Pizza.
Oh my God. No.
And that I regret missing this event. If I could have, bet on the Dodgers to win the World Series against the Yankees at the start of the season, that would have been great. But missing out on this, I think, is even worse. And then the final author, Karina Moss, she has won a Agatha Award for her best first novel for Cheddar Off Dead. But she's this is her new book, which is also cheese themed. It's in the lazy, hazy, dairy days of summer are coming to a close in the Sonoma Valley. In her new book, Fondue or Die.
Oh my God.
So this is just a Mount Rushmore of cozy mystery titans, I think, and this is just what's available to come to Westminster, Maryland on a Friday night in November. I don't think they were flying people in for this. I mean, this is wow. An hour away from Baltimore here. So this is rather.
When I was in high school, I was working at a cheese factory. And I wrote a story that was nothing but cheese puns, but it was like a criminal gang, and they were all cheese, and they fought each other. And then at it was all to get to the line, all sorts of cheese got killed. And then at the end, it was like a guy came in with his, and just mowed them all down and said, "I'm the big cheese now," was my little, and I turned it in, and got an A, on it. And I always just kind of shook my head at God, that was a pathetic exercise. I knew it was teacher pleasing stuff, he came up with, there's so many puns.
And, I think one time we shared something I wrote in elementary school, but there's no chance that still exists, is it?
There is a chance. I think
wow.
Bridget has kept those plastic bins with notebooks in them, and I'm always like, throw it out. And she's like, nope, we're carting it to a new place. So somewhere there is a treasure trove.
You've got to look.
I'm gonna look. Yeah.
It wasn't something where your dad caught you smoking a cigarette. It was like, just for that, I'm going to make you roll your own pack and tear up that story you wrote, and that'll be you smoke them in front of me and you'll never do it again.
Right. Look at this kid sitting there writing stories. Write me a whole book of stories. No.
We also have an email from Elizabeth, who is at Portugal in the moment for work. La-di-da. I hope it's not Seville weather. And I was looking at menus to determine where I should have dinner, and what did I see? Well, you probably guessed it from the email title, but banoffee pie.
Oh, wow.
She consulted with Janelle, and she agreed I had to go try it. The meal was really tasty, huge shrimp in a yummy sauce, and I was able to slang the last banoffee pie they had. I'm going to send you a picture of it.
I was going to say Portuguese tinned fish. I had no idea it would be banoffee pie. Okay, that's what it's supposed to. What is that nutmeg? There's a sprinkle on for those who don't have a visual, which is everyone.
She says it was tasty, but the crumb crusted toffee ratio was a bit off. It could have used more toffee stuff. The toffee was smooth and easy to bite into, so they must have used a different recipe than Connor's. Remember, mine was just hardened immediately, and I think I chipped a tooth on it. It also it was not a pleasing way that
yours didn't. It didn't look good. Let's be honest.
She said, "Bottom line, I'm glad I tried it, but most likely won't have it again unless I'm in the UK." So yeah, it looks like some sort of, I don't know if that's just more crust or shaved nutmeg on it. It looks tasty.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we have Henry, who wrote in to say, I tried to read a good book for a change, but tech kill is inescapable. This excerpt from Graham Greene's acclaimed novel, The Power and the Glory, shows that Ron Goulart's tick of interrupting his character's dialogue mid-clause with "he continued" or "he said" is merely an homage to one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century. And he has some highlights. That drill, he continued bitterly, is made in Japan. The window, the stranger said, is very beautiful. I got it, Mr. Tench said, when they sacked the church. But yeah, I don't know. Goulart would do something like, Mr. Tench said, got it when they sacked the church. This reads a
Yeah,
bit better to me.
it
Those are
does.
all
Those are good examples. I think I've read a little Graham. I liked him, so I didn't. I never noticed that tick before.
Sarah wrote in and said, big fan of the show and longtime listener here. 372 pages has actually made me better at my job. I'm an editor. I should have let you guess what the job was before I said that. Damn it.
A banoffee pie maker.
Yeah. I'm a forklift operator, and no, I will not elaborate how it's made me better. I'm an editor, and your criticisms have encouraged me to read more mindfully. So thank you for that. I saw this on the way to work and couldn't pass up an opportunity to send it to you. I will now share it for you, and you can describe it to our readers, who, again, apologize for doing so much visual stuff on a audio medium. But
Okay, what I'm looking at is, oh wow. Okay, we are looking at a car. Looks pretty old. I can't
old
name the
and rusty. Yeah, no.
old and pretty. The hood is, that model of era where they couldn't use, where they changed the paint formula and then the paint would just come off the car.
Oh, I've got a 2005 Honda Civic that is happening
squarely
to
in that thing, and I guess you can bring it back in and get it repainted. But anyway, on the front, along the dashboard, along the bottom of the front of the windscreen, as the British call it, is the words written in red radical paint.
Yeah, like no fear font.
Yeah, it says, "Damn it, boy." Now that is good.
It's a positioning of a message sticker that you rarely see, because it's in your line of vision. Like it would not be reflected the right way in someone's rear view mirror.
No, so I'm not sure who it's for. I guess someone you're about to hit, maybe? I don't know. Something like a skateboarder,
the last thing a jaywalker
right
sees. Yeah.
Wow, that's very impressive.
But she says, yes, I hope it brings you comfort to know that even in the Northeast, damn it, boy is alive and well.
Beautiful.
Craig wrote in and said, I don't know if anyone has alerted you to this, but there's a surprise under the dust jacket for the hard copy of Bridge to Bat City. I did not know that. I mean, we sent out some of the hardcover books to the prize contest winners, but I guess if you take that off, there's a fold-out like poster of a map of Austin covered in groovin' mojo bats.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And there's the armadillo, and all the locations are pointed out.
Yeah.
Comfort, I forgot about. There's the Capitol, of course, where Ann Richards hangs out.
I think you could see the bridge where they hang out under the bridge that the guy wanted to take flamethrowers and shoot them out for.
The good guys, I recall, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's who knows how many of those images were traced from freely available images on the internet as well. There's a moon tower, who knows? But
who's the musician? Daniel, whatever, the
Daniel Johnston,
the outsider musician.
Mm-hmm.
I have a playlist that I sometimes play. I wake up in the middle of the night because my leg hurts and I can't sleep, so I put on boring music. And I heard a song, I kept repeating on this just playlist, and I was like, who is this? And it was not Daniel Johnston, but the song seemed kind of simple, and I looked it up, and it was written by him, and it was covered by a bunch of people.
Huh.
And it was like Daniel Johnston. So I was like, oh, damn it, boy, Bat City.
I've had Bader Meinhof with Blaze Foley ever since then. He's come into my life a couple different times. I guess there's a rumor that Lucinda Williams wrote a song about him after he died. I forget what song it was, but he's shown up multiple times. I guess he's more respected, and it sucks when I'm introduced to someone by Ernest Cline, and my instinct is to loathe them off the bat. No pun intended.
We've all had that where someone you don't like, you have to work with some. You're like, hey, Clark. Clark's like, have you seen Breaking Bad? And you're like, yeah, no, I haven't seen that. I'm not going to watch it now, Clark. And like 10 years go by, and you're like, all right.
Exactly.
He's not in my life anymore. Oh, this is really good.
But yeah, so we all have that in the form of Ernest Cline, who we've never met.
Yeah.
And then last email, we got a One from Jonathan, who said, I wrote this dumb song that recaps every book you guys have covered so far. This is quite unique. Thought it might be useful for some listeners trying to remember the journey we've all been on. I'm not going to embarrass myself by telling you how many hours I spent on it. And he says, on a serious note, this podcast has been a source of light in a pretty dark world, and I wanted to thank you both for it. It may just be a side project for you guys, but I think things like 372 pages make the world a better place. So sincerely, thank you. And he sent us in a song that we already had a We Didn't Start the Fire of Radio 1, but this is sort of for the whole podcast. So if you want to heard if you ever wanted to hear the plot of 64 Squares or Trucking Through Time covered in a song verse, this is the song for you. We will definitely link to that in the description as well.
Wow, very nice. And thank you for your kind words. That's very nice of you.
Very nice. I'm glad we can inspire creativity in other forms as well. Whether
does it run longer than? My guess would be it would have to run longer than We Didn't Start the Fire.
Well, I mean, it's everything gets a couplet essentially. So like it's not like it covers deeply into the.
Well, yeah, We Didn't Start the Fire doesn't go very deep.
I think you could pretty much sum up the 60s with JFK blown away. What else do I have to say? It's right there.
Yes. Belgians in the Congo. I think I've explained it. Do you have any questions?
So yeah, we will link to that as well as all the other images in the description here. But I don't know. I'm ready for some coziness. I think everybody is, even though it's it was like 85 degrees here yesterday. It's going to be cozy at some point in time.
It's cozy here in Minnesota. It's kind of cool today, a little bit cloudy. So yeah, we had a fire on this morning. I made a coffee, not a cocoa for Bridget. I'll start making, but I frothed her up a coffee this morning. So it's pretty cozy around here. It's starting to get cozy.
All right. Well, time to rock around the chickadee.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will look forward to doing this book, which, once again, to reiterate, is The Quilting Cruise by the Devlin Sisters. Suggested by Jeffrey. You know who to blame.
Book discussion starts at 4:31. So long, everyone.